Hey guys, tonight, we're taking a long, slow walk through the sleeping streets of ancient Rome. We'll step inside the warm, gentle world of the Roman bathhouse, not during the noisy daytime hours, but at midnight, when the city is still, and the steam rises like a dream. Before we begin, drop your city and what time you're watching this down in the comments. I'd love to know where you are in the world and who you are drifting into the past with me. If you're maybe 16 or 17, maybe you've never thought much about Rome at night, or what it felt like to just breathe in a quieter time. This video is here for you to calm your thoughts, slow your breath, and carry you to sleep. So, take a deep breath. Like and subscribe if you'd like to come back tomorrow night, and now, let the story begin. The sun has long since passed its highest point, and now it lowers, ever so slowly, behind the undulating hills of the Roman countryside. A hush settles on the city, not of silence, but of softness, the kind of quiet that comes not from stillness, but from a world winding down. It is the first hour of evening, or, as the Romans call it, the hora vespertina. The bustle of the forum fades, replaced with a rhythm of sandals brushing against worn stone and the distant clatter of a cart retreating into shadow. Smoke rises from low chimneys. The smell of bread still lingers faintly in the air, joined by a wisp of garlic, crushed olives, and something floral, perhaps the last blooms of summer, or a sachet carried by a passing woman in a linen veil. The city of Rome, vast and humming, is dimming, yet it is not sleeping. Not yet. As the sky turns to deep periwinkle, the red terracotta rooftops soften in hue. Lamps begin to flicker to life. Oil-fed flames, tiny and golden, light doorways and courtyards. On balconies, men lean on carved railings, sipping cool watered wine, their tunics loose, their eyes on the horizon. Children play just a little longer, their laughter thinner now, tired from the day, and somewhere, not far from the Palatine Hill, a group of people walk quietly through a narrow lane, the cobblestones still warm beneath their feet. They are headed toward a building older than their fathers, and grander than most temples, a bathhouse, carved in marble and echoing with centuries of footsteps. This is not the great public spectacle of the morning baths. This is something gentler, more private. The midnight hours of the Thermae are for those who seek calm, the elderly, the quiet-hearted, the weary philosopher, the poet in need of peace, the young soldier freshly returned. And perhaps you will let us go with them as you begin your approach. The streets feel narrower, not because they are small, though they are, but because the night closes in around the buildings. The shadows stretch, and the walls of shops and homes seem to draw in tighter, echoing even the softest heel with quiet reverence. You pass by a bakery. The ovens are cooling now. The baker, a man with arms powdered in flour, leans in his doorway. He nods once. Behind him, a stack of round loaves lies cooling on stone. You catch the scent, toasted crust and warm air, and it stays with you. Further on, a woman closes her shutters gently. She does not hurry. The wood creaks, and she fastens the catch with slow fingers. She hums, not a song, you know, but one that makes your chest feel warm. The notes drift out over the alley and vanish before they can echo dot up ahead. The bathhouse appears, not all at once. First, it is the glint of the marble under lamplight, pale, streaked with grey and cool to the eye. Then the sound of water, though faint, a trickle, a drip, a flowing hush, and then the scent mineral-rich steam, old stone, a faint trace of rose oil and crushed laurel leaves. The entrance is quiet. A tall arch flanked by columns worn smooth from touch. The door is not locked, nor does it need to be. Those who come at this hour do not come to rush or to raise their voices. They come to shed the dust of the day, to sit with stillness, to breathe more deeply than they could under the weight of sun and duty. And now you step closer. A man greets you, perhaps a porter, or just a quiet attendant. He does not speak. He nods, offers you a folded linen cloth, and motions gently toward the hall. The gesture is not rehearsed, but it is ancient. These walls have seen generations. They remember more names than can be carved, more footsteps than can be counted. You pause on the threshold. Before you lies the atrium, cool and shaded. A pool lies at its center, reflecting the golden light of hanging lanterns. The surface of the water is perfectly still, a mirror to the ceiling, where painted scenes of Apollo and his lyre drift among stars. It is here, in this atrium, that many visitors simply stand, not from obligation, but from something softer, a need to adjust, to let the silence enter their bones before the waters do. The hush is complete, but not empty. There are sounds, if you listen. The faint shift of a robe, the distant splash of water in a deeper chamber, the whisper of air moving through ancient hallways, the sound of your own breath, steady now, slower than when you arrived. You pass the pool. Your fingers skim the edge, where the stone has been shaped into smoothness by time and use. It is neither hot nor cold, just the temperature of touch, the feel of something ancient and patient. You walk onward. The hallway narrows. The walls are lined with painted frescoes, soft reds, pale blues, and amber, gods and mortals alike, depicted in repose. A woman brushing her hair beside a stream, a boy offering grapes to a reclining satyr, a dog curled beneath a fig tree. Each image has faded over centuries, but not lost its voice. You reach the changing chamber. You sit on a low bench, your back to a column. Around you, others are undressing, slowly, with no shame, only care. Tunics are folded, rings and necklaces placed into small woven trays, sandals neatly aligned. The silence remains, not enforced, but honored. You disrobe as well, wrapping yourself in the linen cloth given to you. It is coarse, but warm, scented faintly with cedar. You feel your body loosen, not from the cloth, but from the air, the quiet, the intention. You are not here to be seen. You are here to be soothed, and now, with your belongings tucked away, your heart lighter than when you entered, you take your first steps deeper into the BATHOUSE. The warmth ahead beckons. The water waits. You step into a narrow corridor that leads you deeper into the bathhouse. The walls, still faintly damp from centuries of condensation, glisten softly in the lamplight. You hear the sound of your own breathing first, steady and quiet, then the faint echo of distant water dripping, flowing, whispering from hidden chambers ahead. The stone beneath your bare feet is warm, not hot, not cold, just right, just enough the air begins to change. It thickens gently with humidity and warmth. You are not yet in the main halls of water, but already your skin feels the shift, the invitation of heat. Your linen wrap clings slightly to your arms, catching the moisture from the air. You move slowly, not because you must, but because your body has already begun to understand. Here, there is no rush. There is only time, on either side of you. The corridor opens into quiet alcoves, niches, carved into stone, where statues of deities stand in stillness. Venus, goddess of beauty, stands veiled in steam. Neptune, god of waters, gazes downward into a basin of constantly circulating water. Small offerings lie at their feet: olive branches, dried lavender, a folded scrap of parchment with a hope scrawled across it. Here, in the twilight hours, the bathhouse becomes more than a place to clean the body, is a place where people come to shed the weight of thought, to unburden themselves into the silence. You reach the vestibule. The path divides. One corridor curves toward the caldarium, the hot bath chamber. Another winds toward the frigidarium. And ahead, straight and open, is the tepidarium. You begin there, as everyone does. The entrance to the tepidarium is framed with marble, carved with waves and dolphins. There is no door, just an open arch, through which golden mist rolls like fog from a dream. You step forward. Immediately, warmth greets you, not the searing heat of a sunlit day, but the kind of enveloping warmth that melts away tension from the shoulders inward. Your breath slows. The tepidarium is luminous. Its walls are covered in polished marble and decorative plaster painted in pale ochre and soft blue. Skylights above filter moonlight down into the chamber, though it is faint. The true illumination comes from wall sconces and small oil lamps placed evenly along the curved edges of the room. They cast halos of light that glow against the steam, refracted softly like a lantern seen through fog. There are few people here tonight. Two elderly men sit on opposite ends of a long stone bench, each reclined slightly, eyes closed, breathing slow and full. A young woman with a braid-like rope kneels beside a fountain, dipping her fingers again and again into the flowing water, watching the ripples as if reading them. You find a spot on a low ledge by the wall and sit. The warmth rises up through the stone and into your body. Your muscles soften, your knees, your shoulders, even your fingers. The linen wrap is looser now, and the moisture in the air has made your skin supple. The only sound here is the water, not loud, but ever present. There is a small basin in the center of the room, a square pool no deeper than your ankles. Warm water trickles from 3 bronze pipes carved to resemble lion mouths. It fills the pool slowly, endlessly, spilling over a narrow edge into a drain carved discreetly into the marble floor. You watch the ripples, you breathe. This is the purpose of the tepidarium, to prepare. It is not just a warm room. It is a space between cold and hot, between outer life and inner self. The Romans believed in balance of temperature, of spirit, of time. The tepidarium is the threshold. Someone walks past you. Their steps are soft, padded by steam. You don't turn to look. You don't need to. Their presence is not disruptive, is part of the rhythm. A gentle pulse in the calm heart of the building. Across from you, a young boy sits next to an older woman, his grandmother. Perhaps she is humming very quietly, her eyes on the back wall. He rests his head on her arm. The song is too soft to recognize, but it loops like a lullaby. You feel it in your chest, not as a sound, but as a memory you've never had. The room is not small, but it feels intimate. The domed ceiling above is painted with stars' soft silver dots, many of them faded with time, others still vivid. Someone long ago stood atop scaffolding to paint that sky, to map their hopes into the plaster. You tilt your head back to see it. It gives the impression of distance, of infinity, floating quietly above the fog of warm air. Eventually, you rise. Your body is not heavy, but it is slower now. You feel it moving with a different rhythm, a slower tide. The doors to the caldarium await. You walk again through the open arch, and the warmth intensifies. The air is thicker. Your skin prickles slightly, not in discomfort, but in awareness. The caldarium lies just ahead, but before entering, you pause. Beside the arch is a shelf. Upon it, a collection of clay jars, their sides stamped with maker's marks. Each contains oilsome scented faintly with myrrh or chamomile. Small bronze strigils lie next to the jar's curved instruments used for cleansing the skin. You take one. The weight of it in your hand is comforting. Solid, cool. You follow the others through the mist. Inside the caldarium, the light is dimmer, the heat greater, but the peace remains. Here, the warmth is immersive. Walls drip with condensation. The steam curls in golden plumes around stone columns. The water glows faintly light from beneath, illuminating it like an amber jewel. It's deeper here. You step forward, slowly, your feet feeling their way. You do not dive. You lower yourself, inch by inch, until the water cradles your body. It is hotter than you expected, but your body adapts. A deep breath helps. Then another, then you close your eyes. Your heartbeat is the only sound you hear now. It pulses gently in your ears, muffled slightly by the water. Your thoughts, if they rise, are distant. Their voices do not shout here. They do not need to. In the corner, a man gently scrapes oil from his arms, using the curved blade of a strigil. Another dips a cloth into a bucket, wrings it out over his shoulders. No one speaks. The steam becomes your companion. It wraps around your hair, your neck. It fogs your vision and softens your senses. The heat cleans more than the body. It empties you of the day. You stay as long as you need. There is no announcement, no clock. You leave when your body feels light, when your mind feels softer than it did when you arrived. You step back out into the tepidarium briefly, to let your body cool, just slightly. The bench welcomes you again. A few new faces have entered. No one seems to notice, or perhaps they do, and simply do not need to say so. You dry your skin lightly with the linen wrap, now warmed by your body's own temperature. You breathe once, twice, then again, and when you are ready, you rise. There is still more ahead. A cold plunge, a massage, perhaps a moment to sit beside the outer garden. But for now, you have entered. You have begun. The night continues, and you are a part of it. You find yourself standing once again on the threshold of warmth. The tepidarium, though already familiar, now unfolds itself to you with new depth, not just as a chamber of warm air and quiet light, but as a space of pause, of gentle ritual, a sacred in-between. This is the heart of the Roman Bath House, not just geographically, though it does lie at the center, but spiritually as well. The tepidarium holds neither the cold shock of the frigidarium nor the heady steam of the caldarium. It is not meant to stir the senses, but to soothe them. A place of preparation, a place to dwell in the quiet middle. You step inside, and now, having passed through the hotter chamber, your skin meets the air here differently. Where earlier it had seemed warm, now it feels embracing, like a soft, familiar shawl wrapped around your shoulders. Your breathing slows without effort. Each breath moves deeper, lower into your chest, until it becomes nearly imperceptible. You are not alone here. Others to return to this space, not as guests passing through, but as pilgrims who linger. A middle-aged man sits with his back, Against the wall, a damp cloth across his eyes. His chest rises and falls steadily. He is still awake, but he is far away. His thoughts adrift in the warmth. Nearby, two women sit side by side on a stone bench, each massaging fragrant oil into the other's forearms in silence. Their hair, still wet from the hot bath, clings to their necks. One of them smiles slightly, eyes half closed. There are no conversations here, but understanding flows freely. You lower yourself back onto the curved marble bench. The seat is smooth, shaped by decades, centuries of use. The stone beneath you is warm, never hot, and your body sinks into it. Your shoulders roll forward slightly. There is no need to hold tension here. The tepidarium will not allow it. You close your eyes, and behind your eyelids, your mind begins to paint pictures, not the frantic stories of the waking world, but soft impressions. A ripple in water, a curtain swaying in evening breeze, a forgotten song you never quite learnt but always recognize. The stillness of this chamber carries these thoughts gently, cradling them until even they begin to dissolve. Above you, the ceiling curves into a shallow dome, painted with gentle, swirling patterns, waves and spirals, suns and moons alternating. In delicate symmetry, time passes differently beneath this ceiling. There are no clocks here, no announcements, no reminders. Only the pulse of your body, the drift of warm air, the rhythm of water flowing from the bronze lion head. Fountains at the room's center. Each trickle is different. One falls in short droplets, a slow patter like fingers on silk. Another flows, steadily, a soft, eternal pour. The third, perhaps your favorite, drips in irregular intervals, never quite the same. It surprises you gently, like a new thought arriving uninvited. But welcome, you open your eyes again. A young servant walks silently across the chamber, carrying a shallow bronze bowl. Within it is a small cloth soaked in herb-steeped water. She kneels beside an older woman and gently presses the cloth to her neck. The woman does not speak, but lifts her chin, eyes closed in trust. The steam from the cloth rises slowly, then vanishes. The scent reaches you a moment later. Lavender and marjoram, soft, clean, like a summer garden just after dusk. You close your eyes again, and now you imagine hands at your own neck, not touching, just resting. Steady, calm. Time passes. You are not sure how long. It could be 15 minutes. It could be 50. But at some point, your body begins to shift again. Not with urgency, but with readiness. As though it understands, without being told, that it has absorbed what it needed. That it is time to move again, if only a little. You rise slowly. You walk once more to the edge of the small basin in the center of the room. A shallow pool fed by those ever-flowing fountains. You dip your hand in. The water is warm, no more than body temperature. You cup it and pour it over your arms, your chest, your face. It runs down your body like liquid peace. Nearby, someone steps in with both feet, standing in the shallow pool. Eyes closed, head tilted back. You watch as they lift their arms slowly, fingers spread, as if reaching toward nothing at all. Not grasping, just reaching. There is no fear here, no need for posture, no need for perfection, just being. The attendant passes once again, this time offering a small clay bowl of oil, a simple blend of olive and sweet bay. You take it and rub a little onto your forearms, then your shoulders, then across your chest. The scent is faint, earthy. It clings to you in a way that does not announce itself. but lingers. This oil is more than fragrance. The Romans believed it helped cleanse the body before the cold bath, and even soften the skin to better accept touch. But tonight, for you, it simply marks the moment. A turning, a soft signal to your body. The next stage awaits. You glance toward the far corridor. The frigidarium lies ahead, and while the idea of a cold plunge might seem sharp, even uncomfortable, here it is, nothing of the sort. Here, it is the final note. In the lullaby, the cool breath after a warm embrace, the falling leaf at the end of summer, but not yet. Before you go, you sit once more. Just briefly, you place both hands on your knees. You breathe one more breath, then another, and as you rise, a single drop of water slides from your chin and lands on the stone. Floor below, there is no sound but the water. There is no movement but the mist. You pass beneath the archway, and the warm welcome of the tepidarium remains behind you, not as a place, but as a memory carried now within your bones. The corridor narrows again, the light dimmer now. You feel the warmth rising long before you reach the chamber, not an oppressive heat, but something softer, heavier, like velvet on the skin. This is the Calidarium, the hottest room in the Roman baths. It awaits not as a challenge, but as a cocoon, a space where warmth wraps itself around the body and soul until all other thoughts begin to dissolve. You pass through the arch, and at once your senses shift. The light here is golden, filtered through layers of steam that dance slowly through the chamber like spirits with nowhere else to be. The air is thick, but not stifling. It carries the scent of minerals, warm stone, olive oil, faint copper from the bronze taps. Each breath enters your body with intention. Heavier, slower, deeper. You pause just inside the room. There is no rush. The Calidarium demands respect, not through grandeur or noise, but through stillness. Your skin beads with moisture almost immediately. The heat doesn't burn. It doesn't even sting. It settles over you gradually, like water poured drop by drop down the back of your neck. This chamber is round, domed like a planetarium, its ceiling high above lost in vapor. The dome is pierced by a small oculus, a circular opening that lets in the barest moonlight. Through it, the night sky is reduced to a single silver coin, floating in the dark. The faintest trickle of fresh air drifts downward from that distant hole, a reminder that outside this warm world, the cool night still lives. You take a step forward. The floor beneath your feet is hypocasteated, warmed by the ancient Roman technology that channels fire beneath the tiles. It's not fiery, it's not dry, just warm enough to be felt, not feared. The heat rises from below, cradling you from the soles of your feet to your chest. A pool lies in the center of the room, round, shallow at the edges, deeper toward the middle. The water is clear, slightly fogged from steam, and glows faintly from the lanterns tucked into recesses along the walls. Bronze sconces, their designs aged and worn smooth, hold small fires that flicker quietly through the mist. A man stands waist-deep in the water, still as a statue. His eyes are closed. His arms float beside him. He does not move. You wonder how long he's been here. 5 minutes, an hour, perhaps more. Beside the pool, low stone benches line the walls. Upon them, several others sit or lie silent. Some wrapped in linen, some bare-chested heads, bowed, faces hidden in the folds of their arms. You move slowly, deliberately, and take a seat on the far end of a curved bench. Furthest from the lanterns, it is warm to the bone. The kind of heat that silences even inner monologue. You close your eyes, and as you sit, you begin to notice things. Your shoulders no longer tight, your forehead free from the scrunch of concern, your legs heavy but not tired, anchored, present. You breathe again, slower this time. Your breath feels visible, audible, like part of the room's design. There is a fountain near the back of the calidarium, not decorative, practical. It trickles fresh hot water into a stone basin. From time to time, someone stands, walks to it, fills a clay jug, and pours it gently over their back or into the pool. The sound is soft but steady, like a miniature waterfall tucked inside a cave. You remain on the bench. Time has no meaning here, and perhaps, for the first time today, or this week, or in a long time, you feel completely unhurried, entirely unburdened. The heat, the steam, the rhythmic drips and distant breaths, they erase the layers of urgency that cling to the outside world. Now, you decide it is time to enter the water. You stand, the motion slow, graceful, unplanned. You walk toward the pool. No one watches. No one speaks. Everyone is busy with their own silence. You step down. The water rises past your ankles, your calves. The temperature is perfect, not a degree too warm. It envelops you like a second skin. You wade to the center, where the pool deepens slightly, and you lower your body until only your head remains above water. Your limbs float outward, weightless. The warmth wraps itself around you from every angle. Not just the water, but the air, the tile, the ceiling, all glowing with heat. You float there. Is no effort required. You could fall asleep here, and some do. A gentle movement in the water beside you. Someone has entered, slowly. No splash, no words, just ripples that meet yours, then vanish. You dip your head back. The water laps at your ears. And now the sounds of the room fade, replaced with the internal music of your body, your breath, your heartbeat, the slow pulse behind your eyelids. You emerge again. Steam curls across your face like mist over hills. You feel cleansed, not just in body, but in spirit. The calidarium does not rush to change you. It simply offers the conditions and lets your soul do the rest. Across the room, a young attendant carefully sets out a strigil, a curved metal tool used for scraping oil and sweat from the skin. It rests on a shallow tray beside a bowl of lightly scented olive oil. Nearby, another tray holds towels folded with quiet care. You rise from the water slowly. It trickles from your shoulders, your back, your knees. The droplets land on warm stone with no sound at all. You reach for a towel, soft, slightly coarse, smelling faintly of cedar and clean air. You dry your skin slowly. Then you sit once more on the warm bench. The strigil lies before you. You take it in hand, light, curved, simple. You run it gently along your forearm, watching the fine sheen of oil lift away in ribbons. You repeat the motion along your legs, your shoulders, your chest, not quickly. This, too, is a ritual, and when it is done, you wipe the blade, place it back on its tray, and rise. The air is cooler near the exit. You walk with damp skin, clean. Pause, a slower heartbeat. You glance back once. The calidarium's still full of mist, of peace, of silence. A golden room made for pause. You carry the warmth with you, even as the next chamber awaits. The calidarium has left your skin warm, your limbs loose, your breath soft. But as you step out into the main corridor once more, something else greets you. Not just air, not just temperature, but a sense of quiet life. a different kind of quiet, one that hums gently beneath the surface. This too is a part of the Roman baths, for though many come for silence, others come for something more subtle, not chatter, not debate, but the ritual of company, of existing beside others, without pressure, without need for display. You walk slowly now through a passage that opens not to heat or water, but to something softer, a palestra, a courtyard just beyond the inner rooms. The night air has slipped in here, curling through high open windows and mixing gently with the fading steam. This space is still sheltered, walled, but open to the sky. Above you, the stars remain pale and steady. You are not alone. Figures move through the dimness, cloaked in linen, or seated along the curved steps that ring the courtyard's edge. Some speak in hushed voices, others simply sit, close together, yet not speaking. It is a kind of wordless fellowship, the way leaves might gather at the edge of a pond without rippling its surface. You sit on one of the low benches, still, warm from the day's sun, and look around. Two elderly men play a quiet game on a board scratched into the stone. One moves a token, then leans back, waiting. The other sips from a small clay cup and smiles faintly, but says nothing. You wonder how long they've played, whether they've spoken at all, whether they need to. Nearby, a group of women sit in a crescent. Their hair is damp, combed back with wooden picks. One braids another's hair with practiced fingers, as the others apply a thin oil to their arms and legs. No one hurries. Every motion is part of the night's rhythm, a shared choreography that does not require rehearsal. A low whisper passes through the air, carried from one pair of seated figures to another. A few soft laughs, breathy, not loud, but they vanish quickly into the night, leaving only stillness behind. There is no one here seeking to impress, no boasting, no declarations, not here. This place invites a kind of truth, one that comes not in speech, but in presence. You rise and walk the edge of the courtyard. The floor beneath your feet is dry, smooth. Small oil lamps sit in shallow wall niches, casting an amber light across the stone. You pause at a spot where a fountain bubbles quietly into a square basin. The water glimmers, stirred only by the soft ripple of its own motion. Across the space, a young father kneels by the fountain, cupping water into his child's hands. The boy laughs once, then quickly covers his mouth, glancing around as if afraid to disturb the quiet. But no one scolds. The father only smiles, tousles the boy's hair, and helps him rinse his feet. You continue walking. You pass by an open doorway. Beyond it, the massage rooms. You see dim light, feel a different kind of heat. This one from hands, from warmed oil, from thick blankets folded beside a stone table. Someone lies stretched out, a figure needing the tension from their shoulders, using slow, practiced pressure. The room is filled with nothing but the sound of breathing. You do not enter. You do not need to. You found your own version of comfort tonight, and yet, it's comforting to know that every visitor finds something different here, and all of it is allowed. The Roman bathhouse was many things: a place of cleansing, a place of worship, a place of quiet, but it was also, always, a place of community, a place where a senator might sit beside a soldier, where a widow and a merchant might dip their feet into the same fountain, where age and rank, for a moment stepped aside, and all that remained were bodies and breath and silence, and perhaps a word softly spoken. You return now to your seat near the base of a tall cypress planted in a square stone bed, its scent piney, clean, old drifts toward you faintly. You lean your head back and feel the gentle curve of the stone support beneath your neck. Your body is still, your thoughts quieter than ever. A whisper brushes the edge of your hearing. You don't catch the words, but you don't need to. The meaning is in the tone, low, kind, drifting away like a leaf, caught in still water. You close your eyes, not in sleep, not yet, but in rest for tonight. You've spoken only in footsteps. You've listened only to fountains. You've connected, not through words, but through presence. There is a kind of language here that speaks without sound, and you are fluent in it now. You rise once more, slowly, from the bench beside the cypress tree. Your body is warm now, thoroughly, deeply, unmistakably warm. Not just on the surface, but in your chest, your arms, your spine. A warmth that has softened you, poured you out, and left you open. Clear, but there is one more chamber ahead. The final step, the frigidarium, the cold plunge. And though the word might seem harsh, frigid, sharp, abrupt, the truth is something far more subtle, something calming. A moment of stillness so complete that it brings the entire evening to a close, not with a jolt, but with a sigh. You walk slowly down the corridor, feet almost silent now. You notice your own footsteps only because of how gently they echo. The air begins to shift. At first, you hardly notice, but then the warmth begins to fade. Gradually, like the cooling of evening wind after a summer day, your skin tingles slightly. The fine hairs on your arms respond. You pull your linen wrap slightly closer. The frigidarium lies ahead. It is smaller than the other chambers, lower ceilinged, almost cave-like, a sanctuary of coolness, of hush, of retreat. You step through its arched entrance, and immediately, the air becomes crisp. Not icy, not biting, but clear, clean, restorative. The scent is different here too. Faint stone, cold minerals, something like the scent of river water. Something you can't quite name, but that reminds you of mountains. Of quiet. At the center of the room lies the cold pool, a rectangular basin of smooth, pale marble. The water within is still, perfectly still. Not a ripple disturbs its surface. It reflects the lantern light from above like a dark mirror. One that doesn't show your face, but you're feeling calm, waiting. You stand at the edge. The water is deeper here, waist deep, perhaps more. But the steps descend gradually, shallow ledges worn by countless feet. You place one foot into the water and stop, just for a moment. The cold reaches up, not suddenly, but gently. It surprises, but only for a breath. Then, something else follows. Relief, reawakening, a kind of awareness. You didn't know you'd been missing. You descend another step. The water climbs your legs, your thighs, your hips. Your skin tightens, but your breath stays slow. You are not rushing. You are simply arriving. With one more breath, you sink in fully. The water wraps around you like glass, like moonlight, like the cool side of the pillow. Your arms float, your fingers drift outward. You move only slightly enough to feel yourself within it. You close your eyes. This is not a place of movement, not a place of conversation or ritual. This is the end of the journey. A quiet so deep it almost has weight. You float for what could be a minute or many. There is no clock in the frigidarium, no cues, only instinct. And yours says, stay so, you do. Your heart beats slowly, your chest rises and falls. You become aware of every inch of your body, not in discomfort, but in clarity. The outline of your arms, the way your breath brushes the back of your throat, the pressure of water just beneath your ribs. You feel complete, as if all the layers of thought, heat, and tension have been peeled away. Eventually, naturally, you rise. The air against your skin feels cooler now, but your core remains warm. The contrast sharpens your senses, but gently, like a breeze across closed eyes. You step from the pool. No towel waits for you this time. Instead, you air dry slowly, standing still in the cool air. Water trickles down your spine. Your hands press softly against your chest and arms, not to rub, just to feel. There is silence here, the kind that speaks directly to the soul. One other bather remains in the corner of the room. She sits with her knees pulled to her chest, eyes open, gazing at nothing in particular. Her body is still, but her presence is full. You nod faintly, and she returns the gesture, not as conversation, but as agreement. This is peace, and peace, when shared, deepens. You walk to a low bench carved from stone. You sit once more, and tilt your head gently to the wall. The marble is cool against your skin. You close your eyes, not from fatigue, but from stillness, from fullness, from the sensation of having completed something essential in ancient Rome. The Frigidarium was not just a way to close the bath, it was a return to balance, to breath, to self, to the place where no more was needed. You sit in silence for some time longer. You no longer notice the coolness of the air. It has become part of you, and when you finally rise, you do so without effort. The warmth of the tepidarium, the embrace of the calidarium, the quiet voices in the courtyard, they all remain within. You, carried not in memory, but in body. You wrap your linen again around your waist, step back into the corridor, and walk toward the final chamber, the exit, where the moonlight waits, where the streets of Rome lie quiet, where the stars are still, watching where you are not the same as you were before, but something gentler, something slower, something closer to sleep. You walk slowly now, the stone beneath your bare feet cool but familiar. The air is no longer hot or even warm. It has returned to its natural state, the calm breath of night. You move through the final corridor of the bathhouse, your body still tingling from the cold water, but your mind is quiet, not empty, just settled, balanced, at peace. The sound of water is behind you now. The trickling fountains, the flowing taps, the echoes of steam, they fade like the end of a song. The corridor leads toward the apoditerium, the changing room where your clothes wait in a simple wooden cubby, folded neatly as they were hours ago. You step inside. Soft light spills across polished stone. A few others are here, quietly dressing or sitting for a moment longer before departing. There is no rush. You dry yourself with care and slowly begin to dress. Not for ceremony, not for display, but simply, silently. The linen is cooler now. Your tunic fits loosely. Your sandals find your feet like old friends. There is a mirror nearby, small bronze, dented at the edges. You glance at your reflection. Just once, you look the same but feel entirely different. Your posture is easier, your shoulders softer, your eyes calmer. You walk to the wide doors that lead out of the bathhouse and step through. Rome greets you. But it is not the Rome of noise and clamor. It is not the shouting markets or the jostling carts. It is nighttime Rome, gentle, moon-washed, drowsy. The streets are quieter now. The flicker of oil lamps lines the narrow alleys, casting golden halos on worn stone walls. A soft breeze carries the scent of distant bread ovens, the last fires of the day slowly dying. You walk alone, but do not feel alone. Your footsteps are soft, your thoughts slower. There are others moving through the city too, shadowed figures wrapped in cloaks, lovers walking close, an old man carrying a basket of fruit home from a late-night stall. You pass a fountain, not large, just a simple one, carved into the wall of a building, water spilling from the mouth of a stone dolphin. The basin is shallow. You pause and touch the cool water, just with your fingertips. Your skin remembers the baths and smiles. You move again, past closed shops, their wooden doors latched and windows shuttered, past temples whose columns glow in the moonlight, their statues silent guardians of the city's dreams. You walk without hurry. The moon is your companion. It follows you gently, slipping between rooftops and clouds. At the edge of the forum, you see the silhouette of a column rising against the sky, a memory of triumph, of history, of voices long gone, and yet it stands in silence, just like you. A cat crosses your path, grey and thin, its tail curled. It does not fear you. It only pauses, watches you once, then disappears into the shadows, far off. A flute begins to play. Just a few notes, then it stops, then silence again. The city breathes. You reach your insula, your apartment building. The stone steps are worn, smooth by years of footsteps. You climb them slowly, no hurry. Not tonight. You reach your room. It is simple, a bed, a bench, a jug of water and a folded blanket. You leave the window open. The breeze carries in the sounds of distant Rome, soft footsteps, a closing door, wind through olive trees. You lie down. The linen of the sheet is cool against your skin. You close your eyes and nothing needs to be said. This is the end of your journey through the Roman baths. You have moved through heat and cold, through silence and presence, through water and stone and steam. And now, through stillness, sleep comes gently now, not as a stranger, but as something already waiting, already known. You are home, you are whole, you are ready. Good night.